We're here with Mike from Aquapros.
Hey guys.
Is that you?
Is that me? Yeah, I think so.
And we got your new avatar tank here in the background.
It's finally done. It's finally done. What do you think?
Finally. I think it's great.
Well, thank you. I spent a lot of time gluing sticks to rocks and rocks to sticks and moss to sticks. That's kind of my thing these days. So.
Yeah. What do we got in here substrate-wise?
So we got the Brightwell, the super small stuff. They call it, I think it's the Rio Cafe XF. So it's just kind of like a super small version of maybe the stuff that you're more used to. It's an active substrate. And it's the brown color. And I wanted to go with that specifically for that color because I wanted it to kind of lighten up the bottom of it. We're used to using the darker stuff, which I have in a lot of my other tanks. But I felt like this would just fit what I was trying to do a little bit better. So, yeah.
Brown is good. Contrast. Right?
Good guy. Good. Oh,
So,
man.
What plants do we have in the substrate?
So in the substrate, we have dwarf hairgrass, pretty much all throughout. And then there's a couple pieces of some Glossostigma Elanteroides. I accidentally got it from a seller, and so I had it laying around, and I was like, why not? You know, this whole tank is sort of supposed to be a kind of a crazy mixed up jungle sort of a thing. So I was like, that might be cool if they end up all kind of growing together and stuff. I had a tank before that had primarily Glosso, and then it had a little bit of hairgrass, and I thought it was really cool. So I tried to just like flip it this time and do a little bit of Glosso kind of around the rocky area. And then once that all blends together, I thought that might look kind of cool. There's also some S repens that's kind of hiding around here, just some other random pieces that I had. And that's pretty much all that's going on down in the substrate.
Nice. What are the floating rocks?
Yeah, so the floating rocks, I'll just kind of go over all the hardscape, really. It all ties together, but the stuff down here is all heavy, dense lava rock. And the floating rocks aren't really floating, but they are a pumice type stone. So they're super lightweight, even though they do sink, they just barely sink. So like, I don't know if I can do this, but can you see this piece?
Mm-hmm.
It's like very loosely in place. Like if I hold it up here and just drop it, I don't know if you really get the full effect, but it's very lightweight in water. It still has a decent amount of buoyancy to it, even though it's not buoyant, if that makes sense. So the pieces up here, there's not a lot of force put on them, so it's easy. Like they're just super glued to the sticks and kind of balancing there. So that's why I use that material for that portion, because if I was doing it with these normal lava rocks, it would be impossible to support it with just the sticks.
Where'd you get the pumice?
So the pumice is stuff that I was able to get at a local like rock yard, like a landscaping place. I don't know if it's widely available, but it's certainly a material that I haven't seen used a lot in aquariums. You can go on Amazon and you can buy more of a normal pumice. I don't know if you've seen that. I'm not familiar with all the different types of pumices and what exactly goes into that, but they have stuff that is available that's not exactly this stuff. This stuff's kind of sharp. It's actually, you start working with it and it really tears into you. Like pumice is an abrasive material, but this is like a sharper material, so it's a little different. But you could use either for something like this.
Mm-hmm. What's the moss you got going on there?
Yeah, so the moss, actually there's only one type of moss. It's mini Christmas moss, and it's the lighter stuff you're gonna see around here. The darker stuff is actually Riccardia, Minipelia. So not technically a moss, but does look like a moss. I often just refer to it as moss because that's easy to do. And so that's the darker patches that you'll see kind of around the tank. And, it's stuff that isn't the easiest to find. If you ever find a source for any kind of moss or Minipelia, get your hands on as much of it as you can. Local clubs, stuff like that can really help. We actually went to a local club meeting. Kind of a local club meeting, not really local for both of us, but kind of confusing. But you can end up getting a lot of stuff that you can't find online or is really expensive online in that type of a setting. So yeah, it's kind of just sprinkled around here, and over time it'll grow. The mini Pellia doesn't spread out. It takes longer to kind of spread out. The moss is going to grow a lot faster, but it's just kind of a consortium of those two plants and maybe some others in the future.
Nice. And then give us a quick rundown on your filtration and lights.
Yeah, so lighting, we got the Fluval Plant 3.0s. I run them on all three of my tanks down here and all the tanks that I'll be doing down here in the future. It's just a really good light. It has good power. I typically don't run them on full blast, but it's good to have the ability to if I wanted to. You can also change the light spectrum a little bit, do some guess and check work to see what looks good in your tank and what you think it should be. So I like having that ability, you know, kind of a spendy fixture, but they're worth it. They're waterproof. They're a good unit. Filtration down here, probably throw in some B-roll, but that is a Fluval 206 canister filter, and I have the same equipment running on all three tanks. I really like the filter. I think it does a good job. It has a decent flow rate for me in the 40 breeder. It doesn't blow a lot of stuff around, and it provides more than enough filtration for what I'm going to be doing in it.
Right on. Well, thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming all the way out to your house.
Thanks, dude. It was fun, man. We need to have more time hanging out together, so we need to get another trip planned. Yeah. ASAP. Soon, my dude. Soon. Goodbye.